What's up? Welcome back. In this video, I'm going to talk about how to be a supportive partner without losing yourself. Now, why is this important? And what I see right now is there's so much content out there about, if you're a man, how to get a woman and how that they should be able to do all this for you, how they should support you, how they should basically make you feel like you're the salt of the earth. But there's not the flip side where it's like, hey, how to actually support your significant other, your wife, your spouse, and make sure that they become the best that they can be, because a rising tide lifts all boats. Like when you're in a marriage or you're in a solid relationship, if that person's doing well, you end up doing well as a byproduct, and vice versa. So if you support that person being the best that they can be, you will ultimately end up being the best that you can be. And now also, like, there's two people. So I don't want you to lose yourself. And I think that that's very important. There's things about me that I'm like, I just don't want to lose me, because yes, we're two people in one marriage, but we're both two individuals. So we're going to get into it. But before we move on, if you would do me a favor and subscribe to the channel and like this video. And I'm gonna keep making these videos. Story time. So in 2020, I got a job in healthcare. I left a job that I was at for a few years, and I got a job that I was like, oh, this is gonna be better. I was IT analyst in healthcare, paid more and everything, but I realized very quickly I did not like the job. And so all I did was I kept complaining to Carly, and we were early on dating. I think we had been dating for maybe a year. And I kept complaining to her, and every sort of frustration that I had about the job ended up coming out on her or towards her because of my tone and everything. And I wasn't supporting anything that she was doing. I couldn't tell you like what was going on in her life, in her mental or anything during those months, because I was so wrapped up in myself and I wasn't supportive. And it started to wear until it got to a point where one day I came back from work. We weren't living together at the time. And I went over to her place and I was complaining, and she just broke down in the kitchen. She was like, I feel like you're here, but you're not really ever here. You're not really present. And anytime you're frustrated with something, I feel like you're frustrated with me. And this is just kind of hard for me to navigate, right? And I realized like, oh, I'm not being supportive. I have to make steps to, if I want to stay in this relationship, if I want this relationship to grow, I need to make sure that I'm doing the right things and becoming better so this actually works. So there's 4 things that I learned that really, really helped me show up better and be more supportive, and that has pushed us to where we are now. And then I'm going to keep applying these, because when our child comes into the mix, then that's going to be a whole nother great loving challenge, but still going to be challenged to make sure that we're supporting each other. But number 1, I learned her love language. Before, I just didn't care to ask. I didn't care to see what fuels her, what feeds her. She was fueling my love language. Like, I am a words of affirmation and what's the other thing? Acts of service person. Like, when things are done for me, I'm like, oh, this is great. And then, you give me a kind word. I'm like, great, you're boosting my ego. I appreciate it. This is awesome. But she's a physical touch and quality time person. For me, I'm like, I like spending time with myself. I can go work out. I can, be doing some side projects or whatever, just things that I like being kind of alone. I'm like an extroverted introvert. And so I don't need like a lot of quality time with people to make myself feel good. But I didn't realize that that's what she needed. So learning her love languages allowed me to sit back and say, hey, in these quality moments that she deems as quality time, let me make sure I'm very present. Let me make sure that my tone is right. And let me make sure that I'm not just throwing everything onto her, right? Because at the end of the day, you're with your partner more than anybody else. And that's the person you can end up taking for granted the most while you're at your job trying to people please, that if you got laid off or something got let go, like, they're not worried about you, right? But then we just expect our partners to always be there, and we expect our partners to always just, love us and everything, where it's in reality, it's like that when you're trying to grow a marriage, you're trying to grow a relationship, like, you have to do things in order for it to grow. So learning your partner's love language is going to be a huge help. I'm telling you, you do that, it's like a wind in the sails. Second thing is I audited my communication. So I'm a person where I'm like a dog with a bone, right? Or like a dog on a hunt. Like, if I am upset at something or I'm frustrated at something, I will just talk about it till I'm like, okay, I got it all out of my system. But the problem is that just comes off on somebody else who it's like, they didn't deserve that. They don't need to be a receiving party of my pity party or whatever for however long it has to be, right? So making sure that instead of complaining and brain dumping, like, giving context to where my mind is at, because what happens is when you brain dump, when you're constantly complaining, whatever, the other person might think that they're the source of the problem, because they're the ones that are getting like that vitriol, that spewing. That's what they're getting. So and when you're around them, like, you're angsty. So sometimes like they might be like, ooh, maybe this is because of me. And they're like, I need to remove myself because I don't want to be the cause of your frustration, because every time I'm around you, you seem frustrated, right? So what I started to do was, 1, give context to, hey, here's why I'm frustrated. Here's actually what was going on, instead of just like having my tone be like, everything is wrong because of you type of thing, right? So I needed to do that. And then the second thing is I needed to realize like, hey, some things I just don't need to complain about too much. Like at the end of the day, it's like, hey, we can give context or whatever, but at the grand scheme of things, it's like, hey, some things just don't need to be complained about. It happened, accept it, move on, because something else is going to happen the next day. It's life. It is what it is. So that was like a maturing moment for me where I was like, hey, when things happen right now, like a lot of times I'm like, hey, it is what it is, and we move on and we live another day. So that was something that really helped me, was auditing my communication. It actually helped for me. So I wasn't walking around like a cynical and negative person as much anymore, because I wasn't just, hey, I need to talk about all negative things and complain all the time. So that helped. The third thing is being intentional about non-mundane moments. Non-mundane moments. So like not just like your day-to-day stuff. So really being intentional with date nights and planning things different, right? Because if you're supporting your partner, what you also want to be able to do is you want to make sure that they seem supported by how much you care, aside from just like your day-to-day, right? Like when you're early on dating, the reason why it's so fun and everything is because like you're dating, you're doing fun things, you're planning fun things. And so when you're sitting across from that person and you're doing an activity, it's like, oh, this is great because we're experiencing that together. And what happens is as you go on and as you get deeper into the relationship, things end up being more solidified and becoming more mundane because you're finding a flow, you're finding a routine and everything. And that's great because then you're establishing like some consistency and a foundation. But when you establish consistency and a foundation, there's other things that you stop doing, the things that got you there. And I'm always someone where I'm like, hey, I'm not going to do the things that have gotten me here, right? Like when I do these videos and everything, like I've been doing these videos for 10 plus years on my different channels, and some channels went decently well and some just didn't or whatever. And I was like, I want to do a fresh new thing. And this is the phase of life that I'm in. And this is target audience that I want to speak to and everything. And I realized I was like, oh, I am just going to do what got me here. Yeah, the delivery might be different or whatever, but I'm like, I don't want to stop and do the things that I find that are fun, that are entertaining, that are interesting, even if I might not see an immediate benefit, right? So, when it comes to a date night or something, especially as things get busy, you might sit back and say, well, that's going to take away from the time I have to do some work thing or whatever else I have to be doing or some other mundane thing I have to be doing. But what you're not seeing is the benefit on the tail end being like, oh, we just infuse some fun and some love back into the relationship and some spark back into the relationship, right? So making sure that you're intentional about the non-mundane things, because it's very easy just to go months and months and be like, oh, we haven't gone on a date in a while. We don't even know who each other are outside of like us passing ships in the night, doing chores, making dinners, doing things, watching the same shows and stuff like that. So being intentional about that, that's how you support your partner. They'll feel good about it. You'll feel good about it. And then the last thing, number 4, is maintaining your hobbies. I think that this is so important. There's a reason why I still do these videos. There's a reason why fitness is still a top priority. There's a reason why I really love barbecuing, smoking meats, and creating seasonings and rubs and stuff like that, because those are my hobbies. Those are the things that allow me to light up, that are outside of, within my marriage, but like outside of us having hobbies and stuff together. And so when I come to the table, the dinner table, or anytime we're having a conversation, or we go on date nights, like we're talking about things that we love and that we care about. We're not just like dragging on about like, oh, the frustrations of something happened at work or with this person, with that person. It's like we're talking about our dreams and we're talking about our collective hobbies and dreams together. But then we're also like supporting each other's passions, because when I talk about the things that I like, she's able to see a different perspective. She's able to give some input and maybe some advice, maybe something she sees, and vice versa. And also when you maintain your own hobbies, like you don't end up losing yourself. And I think about this too. When you first started dating, there's a reason why your partner, your significant other, your girlfriend, your fiance, your wife fell in love with you. And it was like because you were fully you were doing your thing, and she's like, oh, I love that. Now you get into the mundane thing and everything, and then you lose all of that. And then years later, they sit and they're just like, you're a different person. Now everybody changes and stuff, but if you just like let go of the things that you enjoy doing and that you like to do, of course, there's going to be some level of you that was like on fire for life or whatever that's just not there anymore. And they're just like, wait a second, I missed that. Not that that has to be there all the time, but like some glimpses of that as life gets more routine is really, really nice. So that's why I say don't lose yourself, and make sure that you're maintaining your hobbies, because that's going to fill your cup so that you're able to fill the cup of everybody else in your house. So these are how to be a supportive partner, and also how to make sure that you aren't losing yourself. Again, number 1, learn your partner's love language. If you can speak that language, it just makes everything flow so much better. Number 2, audit your communication. Don't just brain dump, like really audit what you're talking about, if it's important, if it's going to grow the relationship. Number 3, be intentional about non-mundane moments. Be intentional about date nights, those things that get you all back to like, ooh, how we got here in the first place. And number 4, maintain your own hobbies. Have fun. Do the things that you've always loved to do. That's why she fell in love with you in the first place. That's why he fell in love with you in the first place, whoever's watching this. And make sure that, you have you. And that's it. Hope you all enjoyed this video. See you all in the next video. Peace.